All right, guys, we're going to start off by learning the reason for the seasons. Now, the main reason for the seasons is a lovely word we call tilt. Now, the Earth is tilted 23.5 degrees. So, this is very important to understand when we're doing our diagram. So, let's start our diagram with our sun right in the middle. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw 4 different Earths. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, notice what I talked about, that there is a tilt. Now, all my Earths have to be tilted in the same direction. Now, if you decide to tilt them in the other direction, facing this way instead of this way, then all your Earths have to look the same. Now, one of the things we need to do with our diagrams is divide the hemispheres. So I'm going to divide my hemispheres also with a tilt. Also with a tilt. So what does that line symbolize? It symbolizes the difference between my north and south hemisphere. So I'm going to put an N and an S on all of them. Just helps me understand what I'm looking at. Now, as a rule, we're going to be putting our seasons on here. We're going to be seeing exactly why these seasons belong where they do. Now, the very first season I always want you to start with is summer. Now, why do I want you to start with summer? Summer in the north. I want you to start summer in the north because the tilt means that the sun or the earth during summer is facing the sun. So if we look at all our Earths here, this one right here is summer in the north because the Earth is tilted towards the sun. It's tilted facing the sun. So this means that it's getting a lot more sunlight, right? A lot more sunlight. And what's the season that brings the most sunlight? Summer, right? So here, what I do next is I go in again, counterclockwise direction. So I'm going to draw my little arrow. Now, what season comes right after summer? We have fall. And then we keep going. But I'm only doing the north. I'm only doing the north. That's why I separated those here. So after fall, we go straight into winter. Now notice, this is the part of the earth, guys, that we're actually, us being in the northern hemisphere, are facing away. Notice though, now we're facing away from the sun. Then we go up here, and this becomes spring. And how long does it take for all these seasons to happen, guys? 365 days, which we call a revolution. Revolution, 365 days. That's 1 year. So as we go through this diagram, we can see what seasons are there in the north. Now let's do the south. Let's do the south. So multiple ways to get this, guys. Number one, what part is facing the sun? Or just do the opposite, right? What is the opposite of winter? Or what is the opposite of summer? Winter. And then go in the order of your seasons. What is after winter? Spring. What is after spring? We have summer. And what is after spring? Fall. So that's why when we are experiencing summer, people who live in the southern hemisphere are experiencing winter, and vice versa. So by us understanding that location, guys, that's how we know we have seasons. Now, one final thing I want you to understand is that when we talk about our seasons, we also can't forget about what makes our day, right? And what makes our day, guys, is what we call a rotation, right? So the rotation is day and night. Now, seasons, guys, have a very different way of telling us how long days are. That's why we have spring forward or we have fall back. So when we look at seasons, guys, like winter has short days. And what I mean by days, guys, I mean daylight. And then long nights. So again, days equals daylight. And if you notice, guys, during the winter time, it's already around 7 o'clock and it's already dark, right? Or if you go, for example, for summer, this is where we have our long days and short nights. Again, and when do we start to experience that, guys? We start to experience that around the spring. That's why during the spring, we have spring forward, kind of telling us, hey, by the time it becomes summertime, we're going to start having some longer daylight, right? Whereas like 9 o'clock, it's starting to get dark, right? And then in the winter, fall kind of tells us, hey, it's about to get shorter. The days are getting shorter. But this diagram here, guys, is very easy for us to do, and it shows us what we need to do and why we have seasons.